Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Cash Physical Therapy Headquarters podcast. Today, we're going to be sharing 3 tips that you can use to start increasing your paid advertising success. Morning, Ben. How you feeling today, man?
Doing good. This will be a fun one, and kind of eye opening because I don't think a lot of people really realize what it takes to be successful in paid ads, and it's not what most think. So I'm excited to dive into it.
You can say that again. Most people overthink the crap out of it. So we're going to go into the most important things that you can be doing to not only simplify your ads so that no matter where your skill level is at, whether you have any experience in advertising, you can be successful with Facebook ads. With technology today, it has never been easier. So before we go into those tips, I want to talk a little bit about whether or not you should be running paid ads as a cash physical therapist or cash rehab provider, because it's just such an important strategy. And so many people are stuck in the mud in their practice, waiting for organic strategies to work out. And they are just burning their tires. They're stuck in the mud because the amount of work that it takes to break through to consistent 15, 20K, 30K months using organic alone takes a tremendous amount of time. And I'm seeing so many people give up and burn out before those seeds come to fruition that they're planting with the relationships in their town. And I'm seeing brand new practice owners who didn't expect to be able to go full time in their practice until at least a year or two after starting it, suddenly being able to go not only full time in the matter of 60 to 90 days after using paid ads, but being able to, by the time they thought they'd be full time, already making more money and having more freedom than they've ever had in their life. Now they're looking at hiring and building their teams. And I'm just seeing paid ads transform people's lives. Just to give you a little bit of data to back that up, last year alone, our mastermind clients using paid ads, who all do it themselves in-house in under an hour a week, on average, they generated an extra $185,000 over the span of 12 months just from Facebook ads. This isn't including their word of mouth and their referrals. And on top of that, that is at a 5.9 average return on ad spend. That means last year they made almost $200,000. And for every dollar they put in ads, they got nearly $6 back. That is what paid advertising can do for your practice. Now, Ben, you didn't start out doing paid ads. You started doing it the boots on the ground, hustle style marketing, and it worked really well for you. But then eventually you started to transition into ads. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey getting introduced to ads and how'd it go?
Yeah, it was about a year and a half into business that we started working with you, Max, actually on the Facebook ads. It was actually, we were just looking for another stream of new patients, because right up until then it had been like word of mouth referrals, and then workshops and referrals from trainers and stuff like that. And it's just very time consuming. Setting up workshops, first you have to go stop in, introduce yourself to the gym owner, win the gym owner over, then have to continue to nurture that relationship. Then you finally schedule a workshop, and then you have to figure out what you're going to present on, and then you have to market that workshop, and then you also have to rely, and you can only do so much marketing. It's also ultimately up to the gym owner, a large part of how successful in the show up and how many people are actually going to show up. So you really don't have as much control on things as I wanted to, because I was relying on another business owner. And no shade at gym owners, but they're not the most organized individuals. And so it'd be a lot of times where workshops would just flop because the gym owner just was busy and didn't have time to market the workshop. Then you have to deliver the workshop. Then you have to convert people in the workshop. Then you have to do the phone call for people in the workshop, and you get them scheduled. It's just a lot of different steps, and it's very time consuming just to drum up 2 or 3 potential new patients, right? And then you got to convert them once they're in as well into a plan of care. So there's a lot of steps that have to go right. And it worked, but it was a lot of hustling. So that's when I was like, I need another stream of new patients, and came across you and Max and what you guys were doing. And so, started working with you guys, and it was great because it was January of 2020. So right before the pandemic hit. Thank God we had already been running Facebook ads. So we were already doing pretty well with them by the time COVID hit, because we weren't able to, gyms shut down. So I just thank God every day that we actually started in January, a few months before the pandemic hit. So that's kind of the story on how we got into it. But yeah, I'm curious on, I'll talk about my misconceptions I had going into it, or what I thought it was going to be. But what do you think is the most common misconceptions that people have going into it or before they start?
That you only get low quality leads is, I think, the number one, which can be true, of course. But the real problem with it is, like, most people think the leads that they're getting are bad simply because their business isn't built for the stage of buyer awareness that Facebook leads are at. And so if you have an entire business where your entire career people were referred to you, or they conducted all their own research and then they called you, or you did a workshop and got in front of them and developed a relationship with someone where you had credibility given to you by the gym owner or whoever was hosting you for that workshop, you are accustomed and your systems are built for a much warmer lead, someone who's already bought into what you're doing, and you don't really need a world-class patient experience. You don't need to be good at consultative selling where you're able to confidently challenge someone on a belief or stance that they have that might be limiting them in what it is that they're able to achieve in their life. And so what a lot of people call poor leads is really just people who aren't convinced they want to work with you, and people just don't know how to convince people to want to work with them. And they go about it all wrong. This isn't good. I don't want this to turn into like a sales training, but the approach that a lot of people take in trying to convince people of their value is completely wrong. They're trying to just tell them why they're different, rather than focusing on showing them and allowing them to feel how they're different, getting the prospect to convince themselves. And so really most people's ads problem is actually a systems and operations problem. And when you fix that, Facebook ads become incredibly simple and you're able to generate incredibly high quality leads. And so I think that's the biggest misconception.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny how people that come into the book program and whatnot, that's one of their first concerns. Like at the beginning is like, these leads don't seem very good. And then they work, like that's a big thing about our Facebook ads. I would say it's just as much as sales courses as Facebook ads, right?
Yeah.
And
more so even.
Yeah. And so that's the thing is like, and then over time, as a few weeks go on, like, oh, the leads are getting better. I'm like, no, the leads haven't changed. You're just getting better at asking better questions is what it is. So your lead quality is dependent on your ability to ask the right questions and tap into being proficient at sales. So
right. And when you set this up right, and you provide a automated experience that's designed to help prospects answer their questions, to overcome their objections before they actually happen, you're able to wake up every single day with hot, ready, eager to buy leads waiting to speak with you every single day. That's the power of ads. Now, this isn't a video that's like ads or workshops. Like, you need to be doing both of them. The power of ads is it allows you to do something that doesn't rely on your time, and it doesn't rely on you being really extroverted and great at networking with people, which a lot of people aren't. I'd say out of all of our clients, I would say there's probably like a 65-35 split between like introverts and extroverts. I'd say we mostly have like introverted people that we work with. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Right. Building those relationships are challenging. And if it wasn't for paid ads, these people would never get their practices off the ground where they're finally able to get out of the jobs that are sapping the life out of them, where they're now able to work the clients that they actually really want to work with. They have the time and the flexibility and the financial leverage to actually spend time with their family. Most of them are just now having kids, and now they have more time than they ever thought possible. And because they have that, and they have a system that generates revenue for the business autonomously, a lot of them, when they came in, were so shy and kind of timid and didn't really believe in themselves as much as we'd like people to. But once they had this system, like their complete personality and like demeanor completely shifted, and they found that confidence, and they realized that they weren't actually as introverted as they thought. And they just needed to have that reassurance that gave them the confidence to now go out and murder it with the workshop and the networking stuff. And so it's like it goes hand in hand. But if it wasn't for the paid ads, a lot of people would never fully find their potential in the cash physical therapy game.
Yeah, I agree. Just because people out of their shells, and builds that confidence to be able to be confident in other areas of your business and be able to succeed in those areas too. So
yeah, it's an empowering thing when you're able to get a complete stranger off of Instagram to come and pay you $2,000 cash. We had one of our clients send in a picture that a guy just walked in and just paid for, I think it was 16 visits and just cash, and just handed him a wad. And he posted a picture because he couldn't believe how easy it was.
Yeah. It's different when it's actually paid in cash versus like credit card, and you actually see it.
Right.
I remember the first time that happened to me too, and yeah, it's a crazy feeling. So.
Right. So hopefully we have at least sold you on the idea of being open to doing paid advertising inside of your practice. You can't compete if you're going to be the only cash practice in town not playing the digital game. You will get crushed eventually because they might not be networking right now, but once they're sitting on a mountain of cash and a lot of patients that are loyal and staying with them, they're going to start to turn their attention to building those relationships, and they're going to come in with a whole lot of confidence, with a big population and audience underneath their belt, and that's going to look really attractive to your current referral sources. So in my opinion, if you are not playing the digital game, if you don't drive that digital game through paid ads, you're going to get steamrolled by the people that do. So pay attention. Let's go into the 3 tips on how to run successful paid advertising. You ready?
All right. So
let's do it. So number 1, Facebook ads, as I said, have never been easier to run. It used to be really difficult to run paid ads. They used to have all these different tools, all these different things. Everything was done manually, and you really needed an agency to do this stuff. Today, that's not the case. Facebook realized that if they can make paid advertising on Meta as easy enough so that anyone with any level of technology and advertising experience can do so profitably, they're going to make way more money. So now they have more tools than they ever have for anybody to be able to run super successful ads in just a few clicks. Okay. And so because of that, my number 1 tip on how to run profitable and successful paid ads has nothing to do with the ads themselves or even how you manage the campaigns that you're launching. It's actually through a little bit what we talked earlier, Ben, which is experience-led sales. Now, let me tell you what that means. Most businesses, most cash practices, they have a system that is sales-led sales, meaning the only time a sale can actually happen is during an evaluation through a conversation with a physical therapist. That is the only time that you have the opportunity to demonstrate your value and to get people to actually buy into what it is you're doing. And most practices are struggling a great deal with Facebook ads and with scaling their practices because of that fact. Because unless we get them to show up and we get prospects to show up with the right attitude, we're not generating sales. On top of that, it's really hard to get a complete stranger to want to give you $1,500, $2,000 and properly convey your value and what it is you can do for that person in the span of just 60 minutes. That's a pretty unreasonable ask, just to walk up to a complete stranger and be like, give me an hour, I'm going to get you to give me $2,000. If you think about it that way, it's a little crazy. Now, we do it all the time, but there's a way to do it. Sales-led sales is very flawed with Facebook ads. What we want is experience-led sales, meaning creating experiences for prospects that are so good that the product sells itself. And so what I mean by that is within our paid ads, what most people do is they just put up a voucher ad, whether it's specific to a certain demographic or not. It goes to a very simple landing page, and then they get a very simple text that pushes them to get on a call, and then someone just calls them every day for like 7 days. Okay, that is what everyone does in the market. It's an incredibly saturated market. And we're dealing with a consumer who is much more sophisticated than they used to be. People have been getting hammered with these style ads. They've been getting hammered with all this different like marketing information. Like there's so many advertisers that are bombarding us every single day. And that experience doesn't interrupt the pattern going on in the prospect's mind for them to believe that this is going to be something that's actually worth my time, because it feels and looks exactly like everything else. And if you want people to believe that you are a premium brand worthy of charging premium services, we have to transcend. We have to go beyond that. We have to give someone an experience where it's night and day different compared to what everybody else is doing. So this means the language that we're using in our ads, this how we're structuring the ads, first of all, and that's going to be my last tip. If you stick around, the last tip is actually going to be how do we structure our ads to make sure that people are really excited to talk with us by the time we get there. But it goes from what we're saying in our ads, how we're obviously like structuring those ads, to what we're saying on our landing pages, and what are we doing differently on our thank you pages and in our automations to get people really surprised and excited to work with us. To give you an example, when people opt into our ad campaigns, not only are we taking them to a video that outlines our unique process, what makes us different, what makes us specialists for the person who's opting in, so that they have absolute clarity on what our process looks like, why we're different. So by the time we're talking to them, they're a lot more warmed up to how we do things, and they're showing up asking better questions, and they're more open to trying something different given the information that they learned. Now, in addition to that, they're also receiving a personalized text that also has a video in that text, introducing them to the practice CEO, again, outlining the process. And through automations that are actually very easy to set up, we're able to track whether or not they watch this video. And as soon as they watch that video, we send them the link to book an appointment. And it creates this flawless, seamless experience for the prospect, because they opt in, they get this video. It's very informative. It's surprisingly helpful. And then it actually says in the video, it's like, I'm going to text you the link to book a call now. Thanks for watching this video. And as it's ending, they actually get that text to book that appointment. And it just creates this really interactive, engaging experience that's getting a lot of people excited and eager to work with us, because they're less combative and they're more trusting in the fact that we're actually better than everyone else just because of the experience that we're providing. Now, there's a lot of other things that go into that. Ben, I'll actually pass that over to you. Like once we already get people on the phone, let's talk a little bit about like what we're doing between the time we book them and like the experience of getting them to show up, that continues to validate that experience-led kind of sales.
Yeah, I think one thing that's a little bit different on the phone call that we do with leads that come from Facebook is asking why now. Because up until that point, it hadn't been big enough pain point for them to actually take action on it. So we really dive deep into like, hey, why take action now? Because what prompted them was just scrolling on Facebook. They weren't going on Facebook to try and find physical therapy for their knee pain, right? It required a random Facebook ad prompt for them to take action. So the pain point isn't as big sometimes for people to take action. So we really want to know why now. So that's a big question that differs a little bit with Facebook ads that we do there versus regular leads. So, but yeah, afterwards, after they convert, what we do is we send them a text recap like, hey, congrats on taking the first step, getting back to X, Y, and Z. Super excited to work with you. I just sent over X, Y, intake forms, evaluation accelerator form. Please complete that as soon as you're able to, so we can dive into as much treatment on that first session. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us through text or call here, and happy to answer any questions you have. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we look forward to seeing you on X day, X time. So it's really important to send that message right afterwards, because recapping that, hey, what their goals are, and show that you actually listened. Because no other clinic's doing that as well. They also receive a sequence of emails from us. Welcome to the practice, what to expect, frequently asked questions, parking, stuff like that. And then they also receive a text from the treating physical therapist the day before that shows them this. It can be one of two versions. One, if they have completed the intake form or the evaluation accelerator form, we relate that and show them in the text that we actually went through that. Because people, I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely hate going to the doctors, fill all this paperwork, and then you get in there and they ask you the same questions, right? And that's a big pain point, and something that annoys other people as well. And so on this text, you say, hey, Ms. Smith, just want to let you know I'm super excited to work with you tomorrow and helping you get back to X, Y, and Z, or help you overcome your knee pain and getting back to, running miles per week as well. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to meeting you on X time, X date tomorrow, right? So quite a few touch points that are personalized, and again, relating it back to people's goals. We're not here to help them with knee pain. We're help them to get back to X, Y, and Z. And that also helps future pace longevity and completion of plan of care, because whenever you can relate it back to the original goal, that's when the plan of care is somewhat complete. Versus, if you get somebody on knee pain, that's the main focus. Well, a lot of people are out of pain after 3 visits. And so you're gonna have higher drop off because that was the goal that's been referred to the entire time. Versus it's like, hey, getting back to running X miles, then it's a longer game, and that actually gets some long-term results as well. So that's kind of
right.
This looks like.
Right. So experience-led sales is the number one most important part of running ads, because if you don't feel like you're going to be worth someone's time, they're not going to give you the time. The first and really only reason anyone who opts into an ad doesn't want to talk to you or doesn't respond or doesn't want to come in, it's simply because they don't trust you.
Yep.
That's it. And so we have to build better systems that interrupt the pattern and the expectations of what people expect to find. And when we do that, then they start to believe it's like, oh, I actually found someone that knows what they're doing, someone who specializes in me. And then they're much more eager to get on the phone. And then, we're not going to go into our whole experience. We have a ton of podcast episodes and YouTube content on patient experience and on sales. If you want to learn more about that, go watch that. I'm going to dial it back in and get off this little bit of a tangent, dial it back into ads. So number one is experience-led sales, letting your product sell itself. When you do that, people are going to show up to your calls asking much better questions, much more open to new ideas and to your suggestions, because they're showing up with trust. You're not fighting to earn their trust on the call and wasting time. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is the style of ad that we actually want to be running. So whenever we're running ads, we want to make sure that we're not doing lead forms. That's a really popular agency style ad because it is incredibly simple to run. It doesn't take management. It's literally the easiest ad you can possibly set up on Facebook. It's where the forms are native inside of the app, meaning when you click on an ad that's a lead form, it doesn't take you out of Facebook or it doesn't take you out of Instagram to some other website. It's an in-app form. And because it's native and there's fewer steps that people need to take, there's less friction for people to opt in, you get a lot more leads, but they're much lower quality leads. And a lot of the people, even if you get a hold of them, they're really flaky because of that reduced friction, and they're much more likely to no-show you. And so the first thing that we kind of push out of people's minds in cash physical therapy is to stop running lead form ads. It works really well for in-network clinics because all they need are leads, right? They don't have to work on developing a relationship and developing trust to really get people to want to go in and work with them, because we're talking about a $25, $50 copay, right? And so lead forms work well for in-network, but cash physical therapy, we want that friction because we want to repel people who aren't a good fit. And so we run conversion style campaigns, which is a more sophisticated style of campaign, but still very simple to set up. If you have someone to show you how to do it, you could watch a YouTube video and still find it out on your by yourself as well. But basically, it uses standalone landing pages or websites that we drive the traffic to. And because we're driving the traffic to it, there's that friction there. We're able to provide more information so that we're speaking much more clearly to the people we want to attract and repelling the people that we don't. And when we're running this, we're always running our conversion style campaigns to a paid offer, because we want to have people who are willing upfront to commit some sort of investment to have a conversation and to work with us. Okay, that's going to repel a lot of the freebie seekers that we don't want taking up slots on our calendar. And what Facebook's able to do when you're running a conversion style campaign is it's able to use its tracking pixel and it's conversion. It's called the conversion API. Sounds like a big scary word, but basically just think about it as an AI that is able to learn from every single person who opts into your campaigns. And so when I run a $67 shoulder pain assessment style ad, every single person who gives us their information, Facebook and Meta are receiving that information about the person who did that, and it's automatically optimizing our campaigns to show our ads to more people like the person who just opted in. And so the more conversions you're getting, the more your campaign is going to get fine-tuned at finding the correct people. And so as you run these, it gets healthier and healthier and more accurate and more profitable, which is why, as I said in the beginning, our mastermind clients who've been working with us for at least 12 months have generated almost $200,000 from Facebook ads in that span at a 6x return on ad spend, because at scale, it keeps getting better. And so it's a really, really powerful campaign. It does require a little bit more tech knowledge to get that set up, but it's just immensely profitable, and it works so well at finding the right people, not just like the easiest people to get to opt in. We want the right people, not just leads. The final tip on that is, in order for conversion campaigns to be able to optimize effectively, they need at least 1 to 2 conversions a day. That means we need to be spending enough on Facebook to generate 1 to 2 leads per day so that Meta can optimize itself and can optimize your campaigns. And so if you're only spending $10 a day, $15 a day on ads, you're not going to get 1 to 2 leads a day for it to be able to optimize effectively, and you're going to get pretty lackluster results. So for us across the board, our target cost per lead that we're pretty dang good at hitting is about $35 to $40 per lead. And so we want all of our clients, we recommend starting out at $50 a day just initially, so that we're getting 1 to 2 conversions each and every day, so that we're able to get the data we need to make informed decisions, and to also allow Meta the data it needs to be able to optimize and scale our campaigns so we can make them profitable within that first 30 days. Any questions or things I missed on that, Ben, that you think I should dig a little deeper in?
No, I think it's good and important to highlight, like, you need to make sure that you're spending enough to give Facebook enough data to work with. That's where it's just like gasoline in the fire. So I think that's one thing that's really important for people to know, because I know it can be, when you're trying a new ad campaign, you are maybe a little more hesitant to put ad spend behind it because you don't have proof of concept that it works. But so you kind of just go all in on it. Right.
Yeah, a lot of people tell us, like, yeah, Facebook ads didn't really work for me. And I ask, I was like, how much did you spend? They're like, yeah, I just spent like $500 a month on it. It's like, well, what did you expect that to turn into?
Right.
Like, what were you expecting to get out of $500? You're not getting enough data. You're not doing a whole lot of anything. And so for anyone who's like, okay, well, that's like a lot. How long do I need to spend that for? How soon can I expect a return? If you set up a campaign that is like, for us, we've been doing this a long time. We can get campaigns profitable within 30 days because we know what campaigns work. We know what populations work. We know what offers work, and we know how to sell to them. And so it can be a very quick turnaround. A lot of agencies will say that it takes 2-3 months before ads really get dialed in. That's because they don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't know the population. They probably take any client that they can possibly get, and they say the same thing to them. And they're just running like messenger ads or some basic lead form ads, and they're taking a ton of your money and they're not doing any work. I wouldn't recommend agencies. Facebook ads are so easy. There's no need for them anymore until you're doing $50,000, $60,000 a month, at which point it's like, just hand it off to somebody on your team. Anyway, I digress. So that's the biggest thing right there. So number one, experience-led sales. Okay, if you have that, you can run any kind of campaign and you're still going to be successful if you have a world-class experience. You could royally mess up the Facebook ads, still be successful. But if you have experience-led sales already, to make that as profitable as humanly possible, run a conversion-style Facebook style meta ad campaign that goes on Facebook and Instagram. My third and final tip is to do relentless content marketing. The people who are dominating the space right now are running content to their audience, and they're putting budget behind that. And so we've been experimenting this for the last year. And what we found is when we don't show vouchers to complete strangers, and instead put budget behind creating two primary types of content. There's really 4 types, but there's 2 that are working the best right now, and I'll share what those are. Is we put budget behind pushing short form content, vertical short form content like shorts and reels style content out to our audience, and we put a pretty generous budget behind that, like $15, $20 a day, and push that out to as many people as humanly possible. And then retarget the people who watch that content with voucher and our offer style middle funnel content ads. It not only it cut the cost per lead in half. So what used to be, our target like $35 to $40 per lead was really good and really profitable, and our clients were averaging 6x return on their ad spend. Running this style system where we first warm up our audience, we allow them to get to know our face, they get to know our kind of style and philosophy on life and treatment. And then only once they've watched several hours of our content do they start to see our vouchers and our offers. And we're left with not only significantly reduced cost per lead, but the quality of those prospects has gone through the roof, because by the time they're talking to us, they know our names, they know our face, and they're excited to work with us. And so it's completely shifted the game for people who are willing to put content out there. Any questions on that, Ben?
No, I think that's the thing too. You gotta have social proof as well, and people need to be aware of you, and it just helps with that. And I think that's also important. Why having reviews, and because people are going to go and look you up, right? They're going to go to your website, they're going to look you up online, and that's why I think it's so powerful to make sure that you're also doing a good job of collecting reviews. Because when they opt into a Facebook ad and they go to our website, they see right on the homepage, hey, we have over 200 5-star reviews for Oakland location, over 100 for San Diego, over 100 for Des Moines, right? So it's not just some random person. There's a lot of social proof behind that. So.
Right, 100%. Once people see your face, they get to know you, they get to look at the brand. Then we retarget everyone who's seen your website, who's watched your content, and then present an offer at the right moment for them. And it's skyrocketing the profitability of ads. It's building way stronger relationships with prospects earlier in the process, making sales more like order taking than actual sales. Creating content is an absolute must. If you're not doing it, you're going to get steamrolled by those who do. Now, just real quick, there's only 2 kinds of content that are really, really crushing it right now. Patient stories, not interviews. Those do work really well, but actually just sitting down and sharing a patient story where you're like, hey, does this kind of sound like you? I had a person come in last week who had this problem. That style creative. And then the other one is just like 3 tips videos, like how to solve certain problems. And then we actually put a budget behind that to get thousands of people in your community to watch it. Then we retarget the people who have actually watched all those videos. So those are my 3 tips: experience-led sales, conversion-style campaigns, and content-led acquisition, where we're actually putting content out there and then retargeting the people who have viewed our websites, viewed that content. So we're only putting offers in front of warm audiences who already know us. Thanks, everybody. If you have any questions on running Facebook ads or would like to learn more, click beneath this video to chat with our team. We can see what a custom meta ad solution and sales system would look like for your practice. We can send you some training, or we can talk about how we can help you do it personally. But if there's anything else that you guys want, any questions on any of this stuff, just comment below. We'd be more than happy to follow up and make sure that you have what it is you need to turn the